This is a second example of what to graph or what to do when you need to graph the key features of a polynomial. So we are first going to try and factor it in order to find the zeros. Then we're going to use, we're just going to plug in 0 for the x's to find the y-intercept. So we plug in 0. Then we're going to graph on our CAS in order to find any turning points or maxes or mins. And then from there, we will just sketch it. So let's head over to our CAS. And let me start a new window here. So we need to factor. So I put this into my CAS, factor x to the 5th minus 4x to the 3rd plus x plus, plus 2. So let me just double check it. X to the 5th, 4x cubed. Oh, it's plus x squared. There we go. Plus x squared plus 2. Okay, so I typed it in. I double checked it. I hit enter, and it gives me this thing. So this is kind of bananas. And we get something here that is a root, but then this whole thing. We don't actually know how to solve all that, so we know what one of the roots is, but let's just graph it. And there's another way to find the zeros from the graph. So if we, I'm going to go ahead and give myself another page and add a graph, and we'll type it in again, x to the 5th minus 4x cubed plus x squared, which I did that again, plus x squared plus 2. So I'm going to graph it. Okay, there is my graph. Let me change my window a little bit so I can see. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a max up here somewhere. I just need to make sure that I can see it. So I need my y values to be taller. So I hit menu. I go to window settings, and I want my positive y values to be taller. So I'm going to make them like 15, 20, I don't know. It seems like it would work. Great, 15 worked. Perfect. Okay, so note, we have a x here. That was the 0 that we found when we factored. But the graph crosses the x-axis in 2 other places. It crosses here and it crosses here. The only thing is those are not going to be rational results. So we can use our calculator again to find those values. So we hit menu. We're going to analyze the graph. And then we're going to choose number 1. Number 1 is 0. That means it will find the value of the curve when it crosses the x-axis, when y equals 0. So we hit that. We're going to use the same process that we use for max and min. So we have this line. We're going to shift it over so that it is to the left of where the curve crosses the x-axis. We hit enter. And then we create the boundary on the right-hand side of where it crosses the x-axis. And here is our first result. So we know that this is one of our zeros. We don't really need to figure this one out because we already graphed it. I'm sorry, we already factored it, so we already know that one. But we'll do this again. Menu, analyze graph, 0. I need to calculate this last 0, so I put my line on the left-hand side of it, and then span over to the right-hand side of it, and there is my other point. So far, I know that this curve has 3 zeros. One of them is at negative 2.16, one of them is at 1, and one of them is at 1.75. Okay, let's continue on and go ahead and we'll find our turning points. So there's one here, that's a max, and there's one here, that is a min. And this looks like it might be something, but I can tell you, this is what's called an inflection point. So notice a turning point happens when the curve changes from increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing. We are decreasing, and then we're kind of like decreasing more slowly, but then we keep decreasing. So this actually isn't a turning point. So we just have two, one up here and one down here. So to find our turning point, that's a max, I hit menu, analyze graph, choose max, set my boundary to the left of the peak, to the right of the peak, and there it is, my maximum. I can then do the same with the minimum, menu, analyze graph, minimum, to the left of the valley, to the right of the valley, there's my minimum. And that then is all of the information that I need. So I would transfer all of that to a drawing. I can find the y-intercept, which is here, and that was just plugging in 0 to the equation. So there's all the stuff that I need, and I can transfer it to a sketch on paper.